What's up guys, Flexile here. Sorry for so long gap between the last video. All of a sudden I got COVID and I just recovered a few days ago. So before we start reviewing the plugins, just wanna say once again, wear masks, wash your hands and stay safe. And by the way, we'll do a little plugin giveaway at 100 subs, so consider subscribing. Okay, back to the topic. So what makes a VST plugin a great VST plugin? So for me, it's ease of use, simple interface, and of course the effect it does to the sound. I made this little piece of music, some classic deep house. Let me play it for you without all those great plugins so you just have the idea. Sounds kinda cool, but we obviously will make it better. Let's start from the kick drum. Right now the kick is too long and too boomy to my taste. It takes up a lot of space in the mix. Take a listen to it. So it's boomy, it's long, and it has this like weird noise in the end of the sample. So what you could do is to engage some compressor, try to set it up right, but it looks hard, usually. And it's a lot harder to set up the compressor than just load up the Kickstart, which is the first plugin I want to show you. So what it does, basically you just load it up and you pick the volume shape. For example, I'm using long kick, but in fact what it does, it shortens the kick because my kick is very long. Take a listen what happens if I turn the plugin on. You can even see how the kick becomes shorter. Now I just made my kick sound way more professional in just one click. So what's great about this plugin also is no matter how you processed your kick before, it will keep the shape of the kick nice and short, kinda perfect for the house music. So for example, you wanted to distort your kick. Obviously, you don't need that much distortion, but for the sake of experiment, I put a little too much. And as you can hear, the sample now very long and even more boomy. So with the Kickstart, it's still distorted and kinda weird, but at least it's short and it will not take up that much space from the bass. Speaking of bass, let's check how the kick and bass combo sounds. So we can use Kickstart for the sidechain for the bass. Like before, we just load it up, pick the right shape, and we can also set the amount of the effect here. Take a listen. So sidechain in literally one click. Since we are on the bass channel, let me show you the secret weapon for making your bass lines fat and subby. So it's Waves R bass. Let me initialize it. So when you load it up, you'll see the frequency set to 80, and what this number states for is below what frequencies the extra sub will be added. So now it's 80, but I felt like my bass lacks those, frequencies that will punch you in the chest, in the car or in the nightclub. And I think it's usually around like 40 Hz and below. So let me set it up in real time. So I like it now, and if you didn't really hear any difference, I recommend you to use headphones. Actually, I recommend you to use headphones for the whole video. So as you can hear, it sounds a lot more fat and subby, but to me a little more dry still. So that's where the next plugin comes to play. So number 3 in my list is the OSL Chorus plugin. This is emulation of the Juno hardware synthesizer Chorus, and what's great about this one is no matter how much you apply, obviously I don't recommend you go too crazy, but it won't damage your low end. As you can see, the filter, low pass filter, it doesn't go below 1 kHz, so technically you don't damage your low end. I'm using around 10 kHz for the bass lines and usually around 25%, so let's compare it. So yeah, to me it sounds a lot more wide now and a lot more fat. Obviously we need to change the volume now a little bit to fit with the kick. So next up is the EQ plugin, and this is FabFilter Pro Q3. And what makes this special, actually two things, is the ability to catch the peaks and dynamic EQ. So in combination, it just can clean up your sound in seconds. So I have this arpeggio here. Honestly, I didn't find any bad sounds in my library, so I had to make fake peaks. So it kinda hurts your ears, yeah, sorry for that. But we need something to fix here. And what you need to do is to move your mouse down here and hold your left mouse button, then play the sound. So as you can see, this analyzer turns blue and you can see all the peaks. For example, I can now just click here, turn it down, then I can click here, and it shows me the next resonated peak. So we just removed most resonated peaks, but we can take this to the next level by using dynamic EQ. So what I usually do is hold Control and left mouse button here on the gain. It will set it to 0. And now here we can click the mouse left button and just slide it over down here. I don't recommend going too crazy. Just go until it sounds good. So I still hear like this one resonating a lot, so I'm selecting this one and it will go down more. Now it sounds a lot more ear-friendly. Okay, so when it comes down to mixing, sooner or later you'll start to work with the vocals, and modern vocal processing chain always has the auto-tune or some kind of tuning to it, and I recommend you to use Waves version. I also had the Antares auto-tune, but for some reason it produced a lot of clicks and distortion. It happened to maybe like 1 of 50 mixing projects, but never happened with this one, so I think it's a great option. And why I picked this sample? Just to show you that even from the sample packs you can get untuned vocals sometimes. So take a listen.
Don't get you hope, don't get you hope.
So this piece sounds a little off to me.
Don't get you, don't.
Goes a little too high. So since it's vocal effect and we don't need this to sound natural, I'm going crazy with the settings. But you'll hear how it fixes the sound.
Don't get you hope, don't get you, don't get you hope, don't get you hope, don't get you hope, don't get you hope.
So yeah, it does the job well, so I recommend it. Okay, so for the next plugin I had to record myself, and yeah, it's pretty bad, but for the sake of experiment I think it's right. Take a listen. Very good demo vocals, very nice. Yeah, so as you can hear, it has a lot of background noise, some buzzing, and to remove this quickly I realized Waves NS1 plugin is just the best. So just watch and hear. Very good demo vocals, very nice. So yeah, just one button. As you might noticed, I love plugins with just one button. Some autotune, some filters and ping pong delay, so it's not that weird in the mix. Okay, so next plugin is a lifesaver when it comes to transitions, and I'm talking about Endless Smile. So this plugin is a combination of filters, reverbs, delays packed into one simple interface. You have the intensity knob with a cool animation, obviously, and the selection of the effects. So what I usually do, for example here, so I'm loading Endless Smile on my master channel and I'm automating the intensity knob, so take a listen. So a little reverb, delay and filter automations in one knob makes it pretty easy to do the transitions. Really recommend you this plugin. But one thing to keep in mind here is that, for example, I'm turning on the mastering and now we have a little latency before this plugin, so make sure you check this compensate automation. And last but not least, the span from Voxengo. So this plugin shows you a lot of information about your music, and what I recommend you to do is to load up here your favorite tracks, your favorite music, and you just study the waveform, study the numbers, where the frequencies are, how much bass it has, how much high frequencies it has, where the gaps are. So for example, I can tell you the number for the low frequencies in house music, it's usually around -30. And yeah, keep in mind it has to be engaged after the mastering. So let me check if I'm hitting the right spot with my low end. So as you can see, it's somewhere around -30. But what I don't like in my track now is that it looks like low frequencies are dominating in the mix. So I think we should add some high frequencies and some mids back to the mix. So let me do the mix changes now. This looks a lot more balanced to me. Okay, so that's it guys. Absolute best, easy to use and efficient plugins, revealed and explained. Stay safe and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!